Welcome to Season 2, Episode 27 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Colley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You can follow me at thesuntimes.com or whatever it is, on Twitter at jcolleyhoops, X, whatever it is. I'm back from the road trip from hell. And boy, was it a last interesting 24 hours. There's so much out there about the Jaden Ivey situation. And so much of it is uninformed from outside the locker room, missing the point in my estimation of what's going on. So let's start there. Obviously, Jaden Ivey was waived by the Bulls for conduct detrimental to the team. He's been on social media live for, it feels like days now. Speaking his religion, all that's fine. Yesterday, he took it a step further. He's speaking his religion. He brought up LGBTQ community. It's unrighteous. Pride Month is unrighteous. The NBA's affiliation, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Soon after that, I got word Bulls were livid, obviously. Not because only those comments, but because of the ongoing thing. And this is what people are missing. Yesterday was not a singular incident that they just said, we are seeing a guy speaking out the LGBTQ and calling them unrighteous, and that's it. This was strike 3, maybe even strike 5. This has been a guy from day one. He's been showing up. He's been doing the work. That's not the issue. The issue that people are missing is the locker room, the clubhouse, when I covered baseball, is a sanctuary. Okay? You have the one place, the foxhole, where these guys can gather. And whether it's a good team or a crap team, it doesn't matter. That is their home away from home. That is their house. And just like you don't want a neighbor in your house being weird, you don't want a neighbor or a teammate or a member of your family, an uncle, in your house being weird. So let me take you back to the White Sox days. 2005, they win the World Series. To this day, tightest clubhouse, tightest group of guys I had ever seen, and I said that in spring training of that year. I didn't know they'd win a World Series. I didn't say that. But it was just a group that just when push came to shove, over 162 games, these dudes had each other's back. Okay. And then we all know what they did. 2006, they make some changes. They add the Swishalicious, Todd Swisher. Instantly, he wasn't preaching religion. He wasn't talking about the righteous and the unrighteous, but he was different. He was odd. He was a self-promoter. He went against the grain of the fabric that clubhouse was built. It took maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I was told they flew down to play an exhibition game. There was a split squad. One went down to Mexico. The other stayed up. The one that went down to Mexico, they're on the team plane. Swishalicious gets up in the team plane, gets like some kind of board and pretends he's surfing down the aisle. It wasn't funny. It was weird. You know, they were about the business of trying to repeat. And, dude, what are you doing? That started it all. And then it just kind of went from there. So the entire year, they finished with 90-some games. And I think Ozzy, Swish got benched. And so it disrupted the clubhouse. It made guys uncomfortable. And he was saying nothing to them personal about religion or what you should be doing as a person. It was just his character just didn't vibe. That's their workplace. Now let's go to the Bulls. They aren't a winning team. They aren't even close to a winning team. But what that group was before the trade deadline was as tight as it comes. Probably one of the better clubhouses I covered as far as men, just men, holding each other accountable, being able to talk to each other, having the same complaints, the same bitches, the same finger pointing of what went wrong. And then that goes away. Enter Jaden Ivey. From day one, his initial press conference, we were kind of warned. Hey, he's a preacher. He's a Jesus guy. Fine. I've dealt with all kind of Jesus guys. I've had long conversations. Both Kobe's very religious. Io is very religious. Modest is very religious. You can have conversations with those guys and bounce ideas off each other, religious ideas. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? I mean, there's a lot of downtime sometimes on the road or in a shoot around or a locker room where you just bounce stuff off each other. You want to talk about non-local consciousness, or you want to talk about religion. And it was, hey, this is his thought. That's kind of cool. That's, it was never pressed. It was never pressed upon each other. It was good dialogue, how it should be, how good conversation between men should be. Women, men, whatever. This dude, Jaden Ivey, okay, and I'm speaking from my experience. I don't need a 22, 23-year-old kid trying to tell me about the righteous and the unrighteous in my relationship with God. For someone, and I think other people that have been cancer survivors and found a different way to look at religion. I was stage 4 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 2005, 2004. I made my relationship with God. Okay. I don't need someone who has never gone through something where it is life or death, that was playing AAU basketball 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago and didn't even hit puberty, to now be telling me my relationship with God. And that's just my experience with him. Did you fornicate with your wife before you got married? Have you been saved? Bruh, I'm just trying to figure out how your knee feels. I don't care about your stupid opinion. And that's just what he was doing with reporters. Now he's doing that with coaching staff, with teammates. These dudes are 23, 24, 25, 26 with millions of dollars. This was not a party crew. They weren't going out and having fun. I mean, they went out and they did their things, but I would not call this a wild type of group compared to some of the Bulls teams I covered. But these dudes don't want you killing everything in the locker room with your weirdness, preacher. They didn't want it. That's where the red flag started. That's where the concern started. You're not a good enough player or a good enough person when you start talking about your history. You slapped your wife, you were addicted to pornography, you were this and this, but now because you figured yourself out, you're going to tell me how I have to figure myself out. That is not going down in an NBA locker room. It doesn't go down. It is weird. And it doesn't fit. It has nothing to do with a bunch of people from the left saying this and people from the right and religious people coming out and saying the Bulls hate Jesus, blah, blah, blah. The Bulls made their decision based on the Bulls. I'm just telling you, this dude's experience with the locker room, the one place, the house that he had to protect and act like a normal person around his brothers, his 14 other brothers. Okay? That's where this thing went astray. What he said about the righteous and other, that's the Bulls' decision. Those are bosses making decisions about their product. Okay? That's on them. I'm just telling you the experience that was leading up to this, where this was not a one-time incident. This was ongoing, and enough was enough. You are not a good enough player, and you have not been a good enough person in your own life to be a preacher. If you find your path and you find what brings you inner peace, that's good. Keep it to yourself, bro. Keep it to yourself. In an NBA locker room with a bunch of dudes that are just trying to find their way, keep it to yourself. Let them find their way. You're not going to guide them. You don't even know what you're doing. So when I try emphasizing this and people are coming at it from all directions, all these outsiders are trying to say, no, it's this. And first of all, nobody even knows my politics. They would be shocked with my politics. So to paint me in a corner or a box as this because I wouldn't let Jaden Ivey speak about Jesus, it's not it. You're missing the whole point. And that's the problem these days. Everything's got to be put in a box. Everything has to be explained in one tweet, in the 120 characters or whatever it is. And it has to fit in there. And if it doesn't, everyone's going to send another tweet out. So that's been going on. Here's the other part too, though. Here's the other part that I just cannot fathom. I know you are saying now Jesus is bigger than basketball, Jaden Ivey, and he is. He's bigger than everything. Great. But Jesus ain't paying your bills. The NBA is. Jesus doesn't care that you're a free agent this summer. The NBA does. All you had to do was keep your stupid, weirdo, preachy mouth quiet till the summer, gone through your rehab, shown that the knee is fine, get the bag, get the money, get the extension, stay in the league. You start saving that money. You could build your own church, be a pastor. You could do whatever, a reverend, priest, whatever you want to be. You could have done that. That would have been better to serve Jesus, where you could have had your own platform to serve the Lord, because you would have had the bag to do it. But you couldn't even do that, which tells me your decision-making when it comes to life is poor at best. Poor at best. You couldn't even figure out, I have all these feelings, I have all these thoughts about my teammates, about some of these coaches I see that I think they're not sheep, they're going astray from Jesus. I really want to tell them what they need to do, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut, make sure I get paid, because I know I've been in the league long enough to know what you can say, what you can't say. I have to play by their rules to a certain extent, get the money, get the financial freedom, so then I could play by my rules. And you couldn't even do that. So that tells me your decision-making as a man, as a person, is poor at best. Shame on you. Then it didn't even, so this is, I don't even know what day it is, because that road trip we just got off ended up being the road trip from hell. This is Tuesday. And you're picking up the phone, Jaden Ivey, and you're doing it again. And you're talking about how your wife is not texting you anymore, and your family is turned on you. And the people that want to prop him up as some kind of religious hero, he is failing his family. He's failing his wife and kids. And his own family is like, you're not right. But yet these outsiders that want to stand on, whether it's a political stand or a religious stand, from the left, from the right, are going to pass judgment on this guy being raised or lowered because of what happened. Not understanding the dynamic where it comes down to one thing. If you're the Bulls, what were you in my locker room? How did you help the players around you? Could I move forward with that attitude you had? No, no, and no. Check all those boxes. No, no, and no. So, yes, were his comments about the LGBT the final straw? Yes, but the camel already had 2 busted hoofs, 1 busted leg, a wanky-looking hump, and 1 eye missing because of the stuff he's been doing in 6 weeks. So I don't want to hear about Bulls are against free speech, Bulls are against this, Bulls are against this. The same way a white teammate can't just start dropping N-words in the locker room. That would be free speech. Why can't he do it? That would be free speech. Because people are smarter than that. It comes down to common sense. It comes down to the business of basketball and the business of a locker room and what is right and how you treat your brothers in that locker room. And he was betraying that trust in the locker room because of some self-righteous thing that he held himself higher than everybody else, despite the fact that he's been a crappy person. So as soon as everyone kind of get their arms around that, it will never cool down, because once everyone gets in their rabid fever pitch about I'm right, you're wrong, you're in this box, I'm not, it is what it is. I'm not going to get you out of that. I'm just trying to explain the last 24 hours as I see it, and the guys in that locker room sees it, the coaches in that locker room see it. And, you know, what the organization did, they're in the business of the NBA and basketball and the allegiance the NBA has to things. They have to make their decision. I'm just telling you, this was not a singular incident that led to that. This was, bruh, now you did this. Now all this other stuff's coming out. So do with that what you want. the bigger picture now to come off this trip. Okay. We now have the list of atrocities. Patrick Williams can't play basketball. We've known that for years. He was extended and given a player option. Patrick needs a complete change of scenery and is telling guys he wants a complete change of scenery. He thought he was getting traded at the trade deadline. He was telling guys, I need to be traded. I'm going to be traded. And guys had to tell him, P, you're $18 million a year. Nobody is trading for you. His own teammates had to tell him that. You are not good enough to be traded for that money. So that was the number 4 pick overall. They haven't had a top 5 pick since. Modest, I like Modest. I think Modest is going to be a player. I've always been team Modest. Josh Giddey, I like Josh Giddey. The roster construction is atrocious. I can tell you that the players have lost faith in this front office. They were losing faith. I'd say the first person I heard that say they didn't trust his front office was probably Zach LaVine. So it's been going back a little bit. But by the beginning of this year, I think they started off well and they're like, okay. But that was more of they believed in Billy Donovan and the system. They didn't believe in the front office. It's completely off the rails. So the players don't believe in this front office. The front office has failed this organization in so many ways over the last couple of years. Your first thing was you extended Vooch instead of trading Vooch when Vooch was still a valuable asset. You extended him. You thought you could continue to run this thing back. You based your entire offseason of last year on a 15-5 March, despite one reporter saying never evaluate your basketball team in the month of March. It's like evaluating your baseball team in September. You never do it. It is a fugazi. And if you are chasing that fugazi, you are naive. They did that. Kept everything the same. They brought back a locker room, and this is just recent. I could go down a list of crap. I mean, we've gone through over it. They brought back a locker room that had 7 potential free agents. Basically, you're saying this boat has to sail at maximum speed and not hit a single wave, because if it does, I know what happens. Guys are going to start looking. Are they going to trade me? Are they trading me? Are they trading me? Then you have disruption. And once guys started getting injured and the fast start went off the tracks, that's exactly what you saw. Poor basketball. Inconsistent basketball, I should say that. So then they trade. Ayo, give him away. Kobe, give him away. Vooch, give him away. Herder, give him away. And then they bring in a bunch of more potential free agent guys that are – one player told me, look, I think Colin Sexton is a good guy. I don't even remember what game it was on this road trip, but they even said maybe it was Philadelphia. I don't even remember. It's all blurred. They said it was the most selfish basketball they've seen a player play in the last couple of years. And it's not Colin's fault. Collins seems to write it on the wall. I got to prove to the rest of the league that I can play. This is the environment that the front office created. This is what they've done. Bad decision after bad decision, holding on to assets too long. And then out of all of this, here's the beautiful part of it. You set yourself up for failure in the perfect way at the trade deadline, even though you had won too many games to really chase top 5, top 6 lottery odds. Not a lottery pick. It's got to go through the system. But you set yourself up to at least do that. And instead of telling your coach, hey, medical is going to be bumping this guy out, this guy out, this guy out. When we play this team, he'll play, but we'll bump. Instead of doing the right thing, you stood down and said competitive integrity. We're here to win games. And you still won a couple more games you shouldn't have won. So now you're neck and neck with Milwaukee for 9-10, and you're like, oh, no big deal. It's only 1.5 percentage point for the first overall pick. Yeah, but you know what? It is almost 7% for a top 4 pick. And for a team that has no talent, you need as good a choice as you can get and as easy a choice as you can make, because you'll botch it up if not. So what I'm saying is this. Wrote this in the Sun Times. I stand on this. I thought Michael Reinsdorf and Jerry Reinsdorf, when they cut and waived Jaden Ivey, it should have been a Godfather 1 ending. It should have been, they're taking care of all family business on that Monday night, the baptism scene. Jaden Ivey, you're gone. Mark Eversley, you're gone. Arturas, you're gone. Get me Billy on the phone. Billy, here's the situation. Do you still want to coach? If you want to coach, I want you to figure out what executive or general managers you want to work with, because we're keeping you. If you don't, would you want to move up in the front office, hire your own coach, and you start picking out the personnel? That should have been done Monday. And then on top of that, Modest, we've seen enough from you. You played enough minutes. You're good the rest of the season. You're shut down. Josh, Mr. Triple Double, had him on the podcast last week. He was great. Love what you did this year. We think you're a piece. We think you're a dude. You're shut down. Rob Dillingham, we need to see you as a starting guard and see what you could do for 34 minutes. That's what we need from you. Trey Jones, we love everything about you. You're shut down. Pretty simple. Yabu, you're out of here this year. Get your ass out there. You're playing. Nick Richards, whenever you decide to talk to somebody, maybe you get your ass out there and play. Whoever. Yuki, go get him, Yuki. The fans love you. Go get him, Yuki. That's what should have happened. And they couldn't even do that right. So here we are off a road trip, 7 games left. The Bulls are not just bad, they are back in the spotlight of national embarrassment. And the solution would have been easy. We got rid of Jaden Ivey. We got rid of the men that brought him here, Arturas, Mark Eversley. And I will say this, when Arturas was hired, there's not one person I said he wasn't a good hire. Not one person. There was no red flag whatsoever. To a man, everyone around the NBA is like, brilliant hire. His first 2 years, he comes in, he fires Gar Foreman. He purges the roster. After that 1 year, after the look, he gets Vooch when no one thought Vooch was gettable. Fired Jim Boylan, got Billy Donovan, off and running. It's $1 billion business, and sometimes guys go wrong, and sometimes guys get bad at their jobs. You got to pivot off those guys. You can't say he started off hot for 2 years and has given us 4 years of nothing, just a big crap burger that everybody's chewing on. So they should have got off him then, or they should have got off him on Monday and just said, Ivy's gone, Arturas is gone, Mark is gone. We are a rudderless ship for the time being. We don't care. This season's a lost season anyway. And we will have a meeting with Billy Donovan at the end to see exactly what Billy Donovan wants. Billy has a great pipeline to coaches, college coaches. Players love him. Just talk to some of the guys, Joakim Noah, Horford, some of the guys that have coached years and years later, swear by the guy. Modest Buzelis, I did a story on him on this road trip. Just about how much Billy means to him, and if Billy would walk, just how devastating it would be. So that's the guy you keep up there. Whether the coach or the front office, you empower him to make those choices. Look, this is bad. This is embarrassingly bad. This is now national story bad. And ass has got to be held accountable. And it shouldn't just be Jaden Ivey. Jaden Ivey's just a weird dude who just, good luck, Jaden. I hope you find the piece you're looking for, the platform you're looking for to preach. But it wasn't the Bulls locker room. So, it's been quite some time since it's been as crazy a week for Bulls basketball. It never ceases to amaze me whenever you think the circus is just about over. They pop up another tent. Another clown car pulls up and 55 clowns come falling out. And right now, Arturas and Mark Eversley are 2 of them. So that's it. That's the rant. That's the list. That's the whole shebang. It was a long road trip. Until next week, I got next.